Welcome back to the show. Now, my next guest sadly lost her fiancé 6 years ago. She had a high-flying business career. However, in an instant, everything changed. She decided to use her experience to help others, and so she retrained as a life and business coach. She now runs a successful practice in Meath and has clients worldwide. Sinead Kieran, you are so welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Initially, I must touch on, because I saw your story and it said you initially went from choosing a wedding dress to choosing a coffin.
Pretty much.
And that was tragically sad. And I'm so sorry to have heard it.
Thank
6
you.
years ago, how did it affect you at the time?
I suppose at the time, I don't know how it affected me. You know, it literally was 1 minute he was there and 1 minute he wasn't.
It was sudden adult death.
It was sudden adult death. So he was gone like in nanoseconds. And you just go into, I don't know, the usual, like the funeral undertakers, and you just go with it. And I think it's only kind of hit you then at maybe 6, 7, 8, kind of 9 months later. All of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, where did my life go?
Yeah.
You know?
So how then do you deal with grief at that stage when you're starting to kind of come out of that bubble? You were talking, I think, was it about counselling and coaching that you got? Yeah,
so I suppose, like the girl asked me yesterday on the phone, she's like, how would you describe the last 6 years? And I would kind of say, like, the first year was kind of the counselling got me out of bed, which was great. And then the second year was the counselling kind of got me dressed and functioning and back to work and doing the usual things, And I suppose it was kind of about 3 years later that I sort of stood still and I sort of realised I'm actually not happy and I have no idea where I'm going. Because you've made your life plan with your partner, and like talking about, who's taking you up the aisle and whatever else. And you've literally gone from that to, where am I going now? What am I doing? Do I want another partner? Do I not? Do I want to get married? Do I not?
And was there any joy in your life in that first 3 years? Like you're saying, you slowly got back into getting out of bed and getting dressed. Can you remember any moments that you thought, oh, that's nice, or I can find some happiness in that?
Oh, yeah, my family and friends were amazing, you know what I mean? So, like, my sister would have got married in that period of time. And, like, I've had, I don't know how many nieces and nephews in that period of time as well. You know what I mean? So, absolutely, there was. But there's always that kind of, well, what about me and where am I going?
Yeah, and this, I think, is something that so many people seem to experience at some stage in their life. Yeah. Where am I going? Whether it's, suffering a bereavement or a change in life circumstance that makes people stop and reappraise. You had was it doing some DIY? Was it painting a fence?
Painting a fence, literally.
The penny dropped with you. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I had thought about doing an MBA and I thought about loads of different things, to get into. And someone suggested I do a coaching course. And I was like, OK, I might look into that, and decided. And halfway through the coaching course, I remember I was listening to one of the books that was on our reading list, and I was literally painting the fences. And all of a sudden it was like, that's it. I found it. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to actually do what I always said I was going to do, and start my own business. Yeah. And it's going to be in coaching. That's a big leap. Yeah, so I literally quit my job, I think, within 2 weeks.
But up to this point, you could say that you had friends who would have been coming in contact, who would have been asking you questions anyway about their CV, and so maybe you were kind of, without realising it, going that way anyway, or was...
Yeah, I suppose I worked in a few different multinationals for like the last 20 years, and I would have worked globally. And yeah, it was always Sinead, can we have a coffee? Sinead, I've got an interview coming up next week.
You were the wise one, were you?
I don't know about wise, but I was the one that they would come to talk to, yeah. And I suppose I kind of naturally was doing it all along. I never even realised.
OK. So you developed this into a business then.
Yep.
And it's not just about CV design. I know this is something that you were saying your friends were asking you about.
Yeah.
But what does it entail then, coaching?
I suppose I focus on, two typical areas, and that's business and professional. So I have two types of clients, that's the best way to describe it, in the sense that I would have like SMEs, like we were talking outside kind of about your own business. Yeah. An SME is someone who's managed to get a business off the ground, which is amazing.
So an SME is a small to medium enterprise?
Yes, yeah. Sorry. And you've done it all, and you are now spinning 100 different plates. You're trying to be social media, a mom, a wife, a businesswoman, a networker, and everything else. Like, that is crazy.
Yeah.
So that's where I come in to kind of go, right, look, what's our goal for the year? What's the 5-year plan? Do we have a 5-year plan? OK, let's create one.
And how does somebody go about, let's say somebody at absolute ground zero, how do they go about creating a 5-year plan? Like, do you have to go off to an ashram and sit in silence for a week? Or how do you even begin to decide what you want to do?
It's even just about standing still and thinking about yourself. Like, I often would say to clients, think of yourself in 5 to 10 years. Where do you want to be? What do you want to have achieved and what do you want around you? Whether that be, I want to run a marathon, I want to have started my own business, whatever that is. And then let's work backwards.
Okay.
So that's where we want to get to. That's
So
destination.
you kind of have to daydream the goal and then see how you're going to put it into
and let's
action.
reality of where we are.
And what age group people would you normally be dealing with? Are we talking like professionals in suits looking for, you know, maybe to add another level to their CV as their professional careers?
Yeah, some of my clients are like senior directors within some multinationals, and it is literally about how to progress their career, but how to balance their life on the side as well. Typically, age-wise, you're looking, it's normally sort of CVs kind of start from anywhere from 25 and upwards, but normally around the 30s and 40s is the kind of typical sort of demographic age group.
Maybe when people have settled into a bit of work and they're starting to maybe see beyond, a little bit beyond just the monthly paycheck. Hopefully they're getting a monthly paycheck anyway. And you deal with people internationally as well, so you take clients on...
Yes, I have clients in the UK, I've had a client in New York, so yeah, like all over pretty much, have laptop, will travel.
And then have you, let's say, dealt with people who you can see them progressing over, you know, a couple of years and you can see them reaching their goals?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Do goals change as people go along? And how does that come about? Is that not been true to yourself or maybe not listening to yourself at the start?
An element of it, definitely, for sure. And like you can see that, like, you know, I had one client who was, is quite senior in an organisation, and this was the goal. And then all of a sudden, you know, it was like, well, actually, I'm getting married now and I want to have kids, so the paycheck is actually quite important. So the goal kind of was like, okay, it's over here now. You know, so it does absolutely change. There's nothing wrong with that.
It's all about the goals, isn't it? Debbie, have you goals? Like, you're hosting a talk show on a radio station, you're on the TV, you're doing stuff.
I know, but I have no problem working for the man. You know what I mean? I'm not a bit motivated to work for myself. I mean, I was offered an MBA when I worked in 98 FM, and I said no. I had no interest in. And I really admire all the girls that all get up and do it yourself. I really, I have this chat with my best friend Elaine every year of like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? The radio's not going to last forever. You know, television is predominantly for younger people. I love animals and I liked fitness, so I did the PT course and then I hurt myself and then got super fat. And then the animal thing, I said to Elaine that I'm going to be CEO of Dogs Trust in 2 years' time, and I've done nothing about that because I don't have any business things. So I sometimes panic because I always think, well, you know, radio is very...
And then I'm wondering then, is that the other Debbie, you're a businesswoman. Do you ever panic or do you have the goals firmly set at this stage?
A bit of both. Like I definitely didn't set out to do what I'm doing now. Like that was never like my plan, I suppose, when I was in my early 20s, but like now I would have goals, obviously, because I'm in business 9 years, so you have to kind of set those goals.
And how far ahead are your goals, let's say?
Like you'd have immediate goals that like you have to hit within a couple of months, and then you'd have your 5-year goals of where you want to see yourself in the future.
Are you the same, Grania? You're another businesswoman?
I am the same, but I think life changes your goals for you. For instance, like last January I went on a skiing trip because I needed a little time off from business and I broke my leg and my ankle. And I was out for 7 months and I had a massive nerve disorder in my leg, and my brain didn't know my leg was there, and so there was a lot of retraining my brain to function my leg properly. So my goals completely changed. I couldn't work, I couldn't drive, I had to move back home with my mother.
So your goals dramatically changed then?
So I hit depression really badly. So I had to change my goals massively. And I ended up building a brand and creating a brand and doing this while I was sitting down because I couldn't walk.
You must love like observing that and seeing like how even in a situation like that you can get something good out of it.
Exactly.
It's
amazing when you sit still and you get headspace. It's amazing. Like you created a brand.
Yeah.
And like listen to you there. So you said, well, you know, I was going to be CEO of Dogs Trust. Maybe that's not your goal. Maybe that's someone else's goal to keep them happy.
There is somebody there.
Do you know what I mean? So like it's all about, sometimes we set all these goals like in January, well, I'm going to give up wine, I'm going to do this. You know you're not. Because you don't want to. Goals are about what you actually want.
So take a bit of space. This seems to be, whether or not you're the CEO of a company or whether you're just managing, I don't mean just, but whether you're managing a household or a business or a huge business, take the time.
Have space. Like I see my coach still once a month, and it is.
Do you?
Oh, absolutely. About 3 years. God, he's probably sick of me. But yeah, I love it. It's headspace because you're trying to manage being a sister, a cousin, family. You're trying to manage like your house, your job, your everything else. And then you've got social media on top of it and television and like all this influencing. Like I love that headspace. Once a month, it's like, right, what's actually going on? What do I want to achieve? Where am I going? Am I happy? Yeah, okay, let's have a check-in. It's amazing.
Next up for you, I heard whisperings of maybe a book.
Oh, yeah, it's half done.
Is it?
Yeah, I have
Okay.
it half done, and I've been kind of just sitting on it. Maybe I should actually kind of maybe go skiing and break my leg and sit still for a few months and finish it and get the headspace. But yeah, it's half done.
So was that a goal you set for yourself? You said, I'm
Yeah.
going to write a book.
Yeah.
Are there any other goals you'd be willing to share with us? Apparently, when you share your goals, you're more likely to achieve them.
This is very true, actually. God,
So
I
what do
feel
you
like...
think? What do you think? What's after the book?
After
A
the
second
book, no, I would. There's definitely a book. There's definitely some online stuff that I want to do for the business. But personal goals, yeah, I've got a few of them that maybe...
Personal goals as important as the professional goals, isn't it? Okay, so if people want to get in contact with you, the details are on screen. Sinead Kieran, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Coaching by SMK is the name of the company.
Yes.
We are thrilled to have had you in today. It's
Delighted.
absolutely- I think we're all feeling a little bit more invigorated after that, going, I'm going to go away and have some quiet time and be zen and think about my 5-year plan, which may involve a beach in Barbados.
It
But
should
that's-
do.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
okay as well. Right, time for a quick break. When we come back, the male contraceptive pill could be hitting our shelves sooner than you think. That and more on the way in 3.